everybody out there in YouTube land. I am continuing my reviews of the 6-issue miniseries, Amazon's Attack, and today I'm going to be looking at issue number 3. This series was written by Will Pfeiffer and penciled by Pete Woods, with colors by Brad Anderson. Now, real quick, a brief warning, this comic miniseries contains many scenes of blood and violence, so viewer discretion is advised. Alright, so starting off, the cover is really cool. I like it a lot. I'm a fan of Supergirl, and there is also Wonder Girl here. It's a really dynamic cover. I like it. It's good use of spacing and everything, and I like the art throughout this comic miniseries. I think Pete Woods does a really good job. Now, this series, you know, I like it a lot, but it's really not very popular. In particularly when it came out, it got a lot of hate. There's even instances of people sending copies of it back to the DC editors and demanding a refund. So I think it's because of the story. It's really controversial. A lot of things happen throughout this miniseries that people don't like, such as people dying and a lot of really intense stuff. So be sure you've checked out issue 1 and 2 if you haven't. The story is really linear, and you will be probably lost if you don't follow the story in order. Oh, but as far as it being really controversial, yeah, a lot of people had a hard time with it at the time, but this was going on simultaneously with Final Crisis and a bunch of other stuff. Oh, and also this Amazon's Attack, it has a ton of tie-in comics, and it's tied into a ton of comics. So the Wonder Woman series, obviously. This issue in particular has 2 tie-ins to Wonder Woman, but there is also a tie-in to Uncle Sam and Freedom Fighters #1, and I did a review of that for the 4th of July, so I'll have a link in the description box for Uncle Sam and the Freedom Fighters #1. I haven't reviewed the Wonder Woman or Teen Titans comics, however, that this also has tie-ins with. So that's Final Crisis and Wonder Woman, Teen Titans, Catwoman, and then Uncle Sam and the Freedom Fighters all have tie-ins, or, you know, they're tied in, they're connected to this 6-issue miniseries, Amazon's Attack. So, alright, starting off with the actual book, this issue 3 on the first page, it's pretty good. It's the same way the second comic starts, with the first page being news clips of what's going on. So it says, now, Alex News Special Report. And the art's actually really good, even on these little panels, like where it says Amazon's Attack. It's 3D lettering that pops out. So it's recapping what's going on, but things are really bad. As you know, the Amazons had been attacking, obviously, but they had destroyed the Capitol. They've taken over Washington, D.C. They destroyed Vandenberg Air Force Base in California. And if you can see on the picture there on the bottom right panel, it says Kansas is burning, and it's a thermal image, and it's about 3/4 of the state is red or yellow. So that's how issue 2 ended, is Kansas is on fire and Superman leaves. So we see that on the second page here. Superman has arrived, and he puts out the fires in Kansas and saves the people who haven't died yet, but all the crops are lost. So that's seen as a strategic thing. Batman points out later that they destroyed one of our main food sources is, of course, the grain in the breadbasket of America in Kansas, Nebraska, Iowa, and they burned down Kansas. They destroyed a big part of it. And also, of course, Clark's parents live in Kansas. So on the bottom panel we see them talk. He talks to them real quick, but they say he needs to go and help other people, so he leaves. And we see that on the third page, him flying away. And this page, I don't know, I really like it. It really shows the style of Pete Woods. You can see in the faces of people. This is maybe not the best example because most people are facing away in the top panel. But in the bottom panel, the mechanic type guy who's facing the other two. And you'll see it throughout. I really like how he draws faces. He has his own style. So on the 4th page, it's another recap. Well, it's not a recap, it's new events that are happening, but it's shown to you in news clips. So the survivors are watching these news clips. So, and it says, traffic is pouring out of Manhattan, but it's come to a standstill as thousands of people abandon their cars in traffic jams. All flights are canceled nationwide. Riots have broken out in O'Hare, LAX, and many other airports. A women's shelter was firebombed. after rumors of its connection to the Amazons. So this is pretty crazy stuff, but I like it in, well, I don't, sounds twisted when I say it like that. No, I like it because it's really realistic. You don't usually see nationwide chaos. Say you're watching, well, not to pick on the Avengers, but say you're watching the Avengers. Everything's going down in New York City, right? But nothing is happening to the rest of the country, and you don't hear what's happening. People aren't panicking or anything. So this comic gets a lot of hate because it's the Amazons against America. At least that's how it's presented. You'll see ultimately that there's an evil force that is directing the Amazons, but in any case, people don't like seeing the Amazons as the villain. But I don't know, you just gotta read it. Some of the Amazons are portrayed nobly, even in this book. Wonder Woman, for instance, never goes along with all this. So anyways, it's pretty interesting. And on the 5th page, we get this great page, and you know, if I like an artist, I'll talk about him a lot, and I think this is another great example of Pete Wood's art, and Brad Anderson's colors too. But you see Hippolyta here, and she's actually on TV, and she's giving a speech to the nation of the United States, and she's saying basically, surrender now or be destroyed. You have a day to decide. The writing on this is really good too. It's really cocky. Like, she says, "Greetings, America. For those of you who don't know, my name is Hippolyta. I am Queen of the Amazons. And since your country has such an interesting history with royalty, I am proud to be speaking to all of you from sea to shining sea." So that's rubbing our own history in our faces. That's good writing. So we go to the next page, and she's telling her generals, Artemis and Philippus, what the deal is, and they're talking amongst themselves. They are not happy with how things are going. And they're Hippolyta's 2 generals. So they're the 2nd and 3rd in command. So on the next page, we see the president. He's in Air Force One, and they're just observing everything and trying to figure out what to do. And they're staying in the air because of all the chaos on the ground. So we get 2 pages of that. Then it goes to the next page, and we're at the Korean War Memorial in Washington, D.C. I've never been there, but I guess they have statues of all these soldiers from the war, and there's some Amazons going through it, and it looks like 3 of them, and they all get hit with darts and go down. And then we see Batman come up, and he's examining them, and he almost gets stabbed in the back by another Amazon, but Superman shows up and knocks the Amazon down. And we get this page, which is actually my favorite page of the entire comic, this entire issue. It's really cool. The dialogue is at the top there. You see Batman, he crouches over the Amazon who had attacked him, and Superman had knocked her down. And Batman says to Superman, "She'll live." And Superman says, "Of course. I had no intention of killing her." Batman says, "This is war." And Superman says, "I don't fight that way, and judging by the looks of those darts, neither do you." And Batman says, "No, our methods are consistent. It's too bad we can't say the same for our opponent." So the really cool and beautiful thing about that is Batman and Superman they don't kill, you know. Even their enemy warrior soldiers who have taken over Washington, D.C., they aren't killing them. So that's cool. It's part of why they're heroes and part of why people look up to them. So we get this next page, and we're at this place called the Athenian Women's Shelter just out of Washington, D.C. And apparently there's a tie-in in Wonder Woman #5, which I haven't read, but it explains this group of people. And apparently they're somehow connected to the Amazons because the police show up and they're there to arrest everybody. And I kind of skipped over it actually, but what the president was talking about when he was on the airplane there was putting in a new law that basically expanded police abilities to arrest people who are connected to the Amazons. So on the next page you get the news reporters, and they're recapping it, what had happened with the arrests and everything, and there were other events like that around the country. And the president says, "I would remind those criticizing these arrests that we are in fact at war. People are dying, and these people are your friends and your family and your neighbors." So he kind of makes a good point. And on the bottom panel, just to rub it all in, Batman's watching these news reports, and he says, "This is an ominous development." So that might be a little heavy-handed, but since it's, I don't know, it's pretty good. I'll let it go. It's funny. So on the next page, man, these things are riddled with tie-ins. So on this next page, you know, that's actually how I found out about Amazon's attack to begin with. I read Final Crisis, and it has tie-ins to this. So anyways, on this page, on page 14, you've got the Justice League fighting some of the Amazon's mythical creatures, and Batman comes upon Nemesis, who is a regular human, but he's heroic, and I think I talked about him in the last review of the last issue, but anyways, he, at this point in time, is in charge of the Metahuman affairs because the bad guy that took over as the leader of that organization was found out and killed or taken out in another tie-in issue. And anyways, Nemesis is here on the ground, and he's dying because he's been stung by some kind of super hornets that the Amazons have. So anyways, the tie-in to that where it happens is in Teen Titans number 48. So, okay, Wonder Woman shows up and talks to Batman a little bit, I guess, and then we go to the next page, and it's Hippolyta. She's in her throne room, which I assume is still the Smithsonian Institute that they took over in DC, and the guard comes up and says there are some people here to see you, and it's Wonder Girl and Supergirl. So that's pretty interesting, right? And it goes to the next page. Wonder Woman and Batman are talking about Nemesis dying. So she leaves. I don't know if she's going to go and get help or what. So then Batman gets a radio call, and it's from Oracle, and she's at the command center, and she's telling him that there was an explosion in Star City. So this is another attack that's happened. This is the fourth one, if you count the... Well, they got... Kansas got burned down, they destroyed the Air Force Base in California, DC got invaded, and then now there's a bomb that's been set off. Nuclear power plants in Star City. So that Batman calls Green Arrow, and Green Arrow's already on the scene. So we get this page here, and it's Artemis and Philippus, and they are talking about what they're going to do about Queen Hippolyta, and it kind of looks like they're going to have to try and take her on. So we get another page, and boy, you really have to keep up with all the characters and tie-ins and stuff to follow this stuff. So we get another page we haven't seen yet, and it's this character named Grace Choi, and she's fighting a bunch of Amazons, and then someone who you don't really see, you just see part of her face, and it says, basically, you are the one we seek. So whoever they are, they're there for that Grace Choi person. So we go to the next page, and it's Batman and Green Arrow are talking about the explosion, and apparently the bomb went off, but it didn't blow up as big as it was supposed to. So Green Arrow finds this bomb and takes a picture and sends it to Batman, and Batman says that's technology the Amazons don't have. So we go to the next page, and it's Air Force One. The president's on there, he's talking, and there's an alarm, so they go up to the cockpit to see what's going on, and the plane has been stopped by Supergirl and Wonder Girl, and Wonder Girl says, either you bring this plane down now or we'll bring it down for you. So that would certainly imply that they are working with the Amazons now. So that's pretty interesting. That could turn the tide against the Justice League. So I really like this series. You know, it would be cool if you could let me know in the comments what you guys think of it, if you've read it, or just following along with me what you think. Like I said, it's pretty controversial. It got a lot of hate when it came out in 2007, but maybe after having a decade go by, people will look at it more kindly. Alright, that's all for now. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. This review went a little longer, but I had a lot to say, so thanks for listening, and as always, if you aren't subscribed, please subscribe. And I'll have more videos up real soon. I'll finish this miniseries out. I'll review 4, 5, and 6, but I've got other stuff planned too, more top 10s and supervillain profiles and all that good stuff. So that's all for now. Thank you.
End of line.